The crisp November air carried the scent of autumn leaves and roasted turkey as Sarah stood on the porch of her childhood home in Savannah, Georgia, clutching a warm pecan pie. Thanksgiving morning painted the neighborhood in soft golds and oranges. But the warmth of the season stopped at the front door. Beside her, her daughter Lily, 9, and son Noah, 6, fidgeted with excitement, their small hands bundled in mittens. They'd been talking about seeing their grandparents all week. Sarah's heart, though heavy with old wounds, held a flicker of hope. Maybe today would be different. The door creaked open, and there stood her younger sister, Hannah, arms crossed, her face a mask of disdain. "You've got some nerve showing up on Thanksgiving," she spat, her southern drawl sharp with venom. "What if the neighbors saw you? This is humiliating." Sarah's breath caught, but she forced a smile, her voice steady. "I just brought the pie and wanted to say hi." Lily and Noah were excited to see Grandma and Grandpa. Before she could finish, her father, Robert, appeared in the doorway, his eyes narrowing. "Lying to your kids now? Huh? Just like their mother. Those two won't amount to anything with a parent like you." The words sliced through the morning air, each one a familiar sting. Sarah's grip tightened on the pie dish, but she held her ground, her smile wavering. Then, a small voice broke the tension. Lily, her brown eyes fierce, stepped forward. "Mom works so hard every day. She gets up early, makes our lunches, and never misses a school event. Every single day." Sarah's arm instinctively wrapped around her daughter's shoulders, pride swelling despite the ache in her chest. "Mom's my hero," Lily added, her gaze locked on her grandfather. Robert's face froze, his jaw tightening. For a split second, Sarah thought she saw a crack in his resolve, but it vanished as quickly as it came. "Shut your mouth," he barked. "No manners at all. Get out. Don't ever set foot here again." Her mother, Margaret, and Hannah chimed in, their voices a cold chorus. "He's right. Just leave. Don't bring shame to this family again." Sarah didn't argue. She adjusted Lily's scarf and nose cap, her hands steady despite the storm inside. "All right," she said, her voice calm, final. She took her children's hands and turned away from the house that had never truly been home. The door slammed shut behind them, the sound echoing like a gavel. She didn't look back. There was no need. The warmth of Lily and Noah's hands was enough to guide her forward. In the car, silence settled like a heavy fog. Lily stared out the window, her lips pressed tight, her thoughts hidden behind her quiet strength. Noah, rubbing his sleepy eyes, glanced at Sarah through the rearview mirror. "Mom, why was Grandpa so mad?" he asked, his voice small, searching. At 6, he couldn't grasp the weight of the moment, but his sensitivity caught the chill in the air. Sarah's heart softened. "Sometimes people are sad or hurt, and they show it by getting angry," she said gently, "but that's not about us." Lily's whisper cut through the quiet. "You didn't do anything wrong. Mom, you were hurt, but you didn't cry." Sarah glanced at her daughter, her chest tight with love. "No, I didn't. I've always done my best for you too and for myself. Some people see that, some don't, but what matters is that we know it." At a stoplight, she met their eyes in the mirror. "Lily, Noah, never let anyone's words tell you who you are. You're incredible, just as you are." The car rolled onto the highway, and the shimmering waters of the Savannah River came into view, sparkling under the rising sun. The city was alive with holiday cheer, families strolling along cobblestone streets, tourists snapping photos of historic squares. Sarah drove past moss-draped oaks and pulled into the driveway of a sleek, modern townhouse overlooking the river. As she opened the front door, the view through the floor-to-ceiling windows revealed the water's endless dance, a sight that felt like freedom. This was home, a sanctuary she'd built from nothing. Inside, the kids burst into their routine. Noah flopped onto the plush sectional, flipping on cartoons, while Lily climbed onto a bar stool at the kitchen island, peering into the fridge. "Can we make hot cocoa, Mom?" she asked, her voice brightening. "Only if you add extra marshmallows," Sarah teased, tying on her apron. The scent of pecan pie still lingered, mixing with the warmth of their laughter. This was the life she'd fought for, the one she'd carved out against all odds. 10 years ago, at 18, Sarah's world had unraveled. Pregnant and scared, she'd trusted her high school sweetheart's promise to make it work. They married in a small courthouse ceremony, her heart clinging to dreams of a family. But reality was crueler. After Noah's birth, her husband walked out, leaving a note. "I'm not cut out for this." Divorce papers followed, cold and final. Sarah was left alone with 2 kids, no savings, and a family that saw her as a failure. In her parents' eyes, where reputation was everything, Sarah's early pregnancy, quick marriage, and divorce were unforgivable sins. They cut her off, no calls answered, no invitations extended. Her name vanished from family gatherings, erased like a mistake. With no one to lean on, Sarah threw herself into survival. She knocked on doors, toddlers in tow, begging for work. A small real estate agency in Savannah gave her a chance, starting her as a receptionist. By day, she scheduled showings and filed paperwork. By night, after tucking Lily and Noah into bed, she studied for her real estate license, her eyes burning from exhaustion. Weekends were spent scrubbing vacant properties or inspecting rentals. Within a year, her hustle paid off. She became the agency's top sales agent. With her first big commission, she bought a dilapidated duplex, rolled up her sleeves, and renovated it herself. The rent from that property funded her next purchase. She worked tirelessly, reinvesting every dollar, learning the market, and building trust with local investors. By year 3, she'd launched her own firm, offering end-to-end services, acquisitions, renovations, property management. By year 5, she owned 4 buildings. By year 10, her portfolio spanned 8 properties across Savannah and Charleston, valued at $50 million. Her townhouse, with its gleaming hardwood floors, stainless steel appliances, and walls adorned with local art, was a testament to her grit. Tucked in a corner of the living room was a black leather binder. Her latest asset report. Colorful charts mapped her empire, properties, cash flow, equity, college funds for Lily and Noah, retirement savings, contingency plans. It was all there, secure and undeniable, but her family knew none of it. Sarah had never shared her success. Not out of spite, but because their approval was a currency she no longer valued. What she craved was respect, something they'd never offered. As Lily and Noah's laughter filled the house, Sarah stood at the stove, stirring cocoa. The pain of that morning's rejection stung, but it couldn't touch the life she'd built. She wasn't the scared 18-year-old they'd cast out. She was Sarah, mother to Lily and Noah, a woman who'd turned isolation into strength. This Thanksgiving, there was no table set for her in her parents' home. But here, in this riverfront haven, she had everything she needed. The kids' smiles, the hum of their chatter, the promise of a holiday spent together. That was her victory. Her quiet pride. The winter sun hung low over Savannah, casting long shadows across the cobblestone streets as Sarah sat in her riverfront townhouse, sipping coffee from her favorite mug. It was late December 2025, a month since the Thanksgiving confrontation that had severed the last fragile threads tying her to her family. The Christmas lights twinkling outside her window couldn't mask the quiet weight of that day. But Sarah had no regrets. Her home, filled with the laughter of Lily, 9, and Noah, 6, was her sanctuary, a testament to the life she'd built from the ashes of rejection. Yet, as the new year approached, the past refused to stay buried. Her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter, pulling her from her thoughts. The screen lit up with a name she hadn't seen in years, Margaret. Her mother. Sarah's breath caught. The message was long, uncharacteristically so. "We lost the house. Your father's investments failed. It's being foreclosed. Please, I just want to talk." Sarah's brow furrowed. Why now? Days later, another message arrived, this time from her sister, Hannah, the same sister who'd called her a disgrace. "I know it's late, but I'm sorry," it read, accompanied by a new social media post, a photo of Hannah smiling. Captioned, "Proud of my sister." Sarah's chest tightened. The words felt hollow, convenient. Then came her father. "Robert, I've misjudged you all this time. I'm sorry. We're in trouble. If you could help." Sarah stared at the screen, her thumb hovering over the reply button. She learned later that Robert, desperate after losing everything, had reached out to old contacts, one of whom mentioned a rising star in Savannah real estate. It clicked for him. It was Sarah. She'd never hidden her success. But she'd never flaunted it either. Especially not to them. They hadn't earned the right to know. The messages kept coming. Pleas for help. Apologies laced with need. Sarah let them pile up. Unanswered. Some might call her cold. But she felt no anger. No sadness. Only clarity. She'd fought too hard for her peace to let it be disrupted. Her life, her children's joy, was hers to protect. She blocked their numbers, each tap a quiet act of defiance. But the past wasn't done with her. One crisp January afternoon, as Lily and Noah played in their rooms, the doorbell rang. Sarah glanced at the security monitor and froze. Robert stood at her doorstep, a shadow of the man he'd been. His once crisp suits were gone, replaced by a faded flannel shirt and worn jeans. His white hair was unkempt, his face etched with exhaustion. Mud clung to his shoes, and his shoulders sagged under an invisible weight. He looked broken. Sarah hesitated, her hand on the doorknob. Lily and Noah were engrossed in their tablets. Oblivious to the visitor, she opened the door quietly. "Sarah," Robert said, his voice softer than she'd ever heard. "I just want to talk. Just for a moment." He held out a paper bag. For Lily and Noah, thought they might like something warm. Sarah didn't take it, her eyes fixed on the bag. Her silence heavy. "I'm sorry," he continued. "I ignored everything you built. I never saw you." She felt a faint crack in her chest. A flicker of the girl who once craved his approval. But that girl was gone. "I don't intend to forgive you," she said, her voice steady. She closed the door. The click final. That night, alone in her kitchen, Sarah sipped cold tea, the weight of the day settling around her. Her phone buzzed again, another plea from Margaret. Then Robert. "Please. For the family's sake." Without hesitation, she typed, "Didn't you call me a failure?" She hit send, blocked their contacts, and set the phone face down. The ties were cut. Her life was her own. Weeks later, Sarah's world shifted again. Forbes published a feature on her, a single mother's rise to a $50 million real estate empire. The article detailed her journey, pregnant at 18, abandoned by her husband, shunned by her family, yet building a legacy through sheer grit. Social media erupted. "Sarah's story gives me hope." One user wrote, "She's proof you can rise above anything." Said another. A local TV station reached out for a documentary. Women's groups invited her to speak. Her inbox overflowed with messages from strangers inspired by her resilience. But her family's reaction stung in a way she hadn't expected. Hannah posted the Forbes article online, captioning it, "This is my incredible sister." Margaret and Robert sent a letter. Robert's handwriting shaky. "I read your article. You've surpassed anything I imagined. I was blind. For your kid's sake, can we meet? I'll never call you a failure again." Sarah folded the letter and set it aside. Their pride felt conditional, a reaction to her success, not her worth. She wrote back, her words clear, "I forgive you. But you won't be part of our lives. We've built something real without you." She mailed it, exhaled, and let go. No anger, no sadness, just freedom. One spring afternoon, Sarah received an email from Margaret. Its subject line simple, "I just want to talk." The words were different this time. Quieter. "I've read your letter. I've thought about what it means. I let your father's anger control me. But your strength showed me I can change. I want to apologize to Lily and Noah. Even a small corner of your life would mean everything." Sarah stared at the screen, her heart caught between memory and resolve. She agreed to meet Margaret at Forsyth Park, a place steeped in childhood memories. Lily and Noah held her hands as they walked toward the fountain, petals drifting on the breeze. Margaret stood from a bench, her face softer, her hands trembling slightly. "Thank you for coming," she said, her voice unsteady. Kneeling to Lily and Noah, she spoke, "A long time ago, I said terrible things to your mom. I regret it every day. You're amazing kids, and your mom's done so much." Noah tilted his head. "Are you not mad anymore?" Margaret smiled, tears brimming. No, I'm not. I'm sorry. Lily glanced at Sarah, seeking permission. Sarah nodded, and Lily touched Margaret's hand. A small gesture that felt like healing. They talked for an hour, about Margaret's new life in a modest apartment. Robert's job at a hardware store. Hannah's part-time work. They'd started cognitive behavioral therapy, working through anger and blame. It's slow, Margaret said, clutching a coffee cup, but I want to be better. Sarah nodded, her silence kind but firm. Forgiveness wasn't forgetting, it was releasing the past to move forward. Back home, Lily said. Grandma's voice sounded soft. Noah grinned. Can we get ice cream? Laughter filled the car, and Sarah knew she'd protect this joy at all costs. Her life was no longer defined by her family's rejection. She was Sarah, mother to Lily and Noah, a woman who'd turned pain into power. At a women's entrepreneurship conference, Sarah stood before a crowd, her voice steady. Adversity doesn't define you, it shapes you. I was called a failure, but I built a life for my kids. For myself. You can too. The applause was deafening, but her true reward was waiting at home. Lily and Noah, curled up on the couch, their laughter brighter than any spotlight. Under Savannah's spring sky, Sarah knew she'd keep rising. Not to prove anyone wrong, but to live fully, freely, for the family she'd chosen, her children, her heart, her home.